What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to NFL Turf Talk live here on a Friday afternoon on DSM Media's Twitter channel, as well as the DSM Turf Talk YouTube channel. So, guys, first and foremost, do us a favor, do yourself a favor. Make sure to check us out on Twitter at DSM_media is where you can find us. Make sure to hit that follow button and then check out the link tree in our bio. It will take you directly to the Turf Talk link with the logo that you can see on your screen. Make sure to tap in, subscribe, share, like, whatever you got to do to continue to help us grow. I'm one half of your host, Dylan Davis. To my right, my faithful co-host, Scotty. Today, we are breaking down what took place across the board in Week 4. We had a Thursday night matchup take place in the NFC West last night in LA that we're going to talk about. We're also going to update our top 10 power rankings heading into Week 5 and our tier list heading into Week 5. So we got a lot to discuss. It's going to be a fun show. Happy Friday. My man, what is going on?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head, man. Happy Friday. It's finally here. It's been a long-ass week.
It has been a long week.
It's been a long-ass week. I mean, socially, work, all of it coming together here. But this is always the fun part of my days. So here we are, man. And, yeah, we get to close out Week 4. We had a great banger of a game last night, which, man, we didn't text about it because I was exhausted last night. But it felt like all the props were cashing. All the plays were cashing last night. It felt like it was a quality Thursday night football game for once. And
I did live bet Rams going into overtime. That was
brother. That was hilarious because I did too. I literally, because things went so well in regular time.
Yeah,
I went back and I was like, man, the Rams got to win this at home.
Yeah.
Are the Rams even at home in LA, dog? Like,
it didn't sound like it. Didn't look like all that red in there. Yeah.
But happy Friday to you nonetheless, my brother. Happy to be here. And yeah, let's get us kind of transitioned into Week 5 here, my man.
Yeah, let's get to it. D-Rab booking his flight, heading up north for Birds Lions.
Love that. Love that.
Brother. Let's go. But let's take a look back at Week 4 and what took place, because obviously the Thursday night game obscures what week we're in, right? This is kicking off Week 5. We're not quite there talking wise yet, man. I got two things to point out to you, which kind of ties in last night's game. I'm looking at some fraudulent activity, Scotty. I'm putting out a fraud alert here. There are two teams that were talked very, very, very highly of throughout the offseason as two of the teams that were looking to exact revenge on the NFC and the defending Super Bowl champions, as two teams that could dethrone that team, that could be in the Super Bowl picture. And I'm looking at the Green Bay Packers losing to the Cleveland Browns all the way back in Week 3. Seems like a long time ago, right? The blocked field goal, they tie it 10-10. They ultimately end up losing to Joe Flacco, and Jordan Love throws a pick, and then you go to Jerry World. It's Micah's return. It's time to dominate. It's time to show Jerry Jones that he was wrong and he was dumb to trade away a defensive player the caliber of Micah Parsons. And you tie?
You give up 40 points?
No CeeDee Lamb, and George Pickens goes off, and Dak Prescott does look like the best quarterback of the week last week in Jerry World. Your defense gives up 40 plus. You tie. You almost lose the game because that same quarterback that threw the pick in Week 3 is making more mental errors with 2 seconds left in overtime. I get it. You don't want to tie. Look at what took place last night in overtime, right? It's boring, but it's going to matter. It could very well matter at some point, and you almost cost yourself a loss.
Yeah.
You're lucky the ball hit the ground with 1 second left. And then I'm looking at what took place last night. And I'm looking at the LA Rams, who come into this matchup 2-1, albeit losing to the best team in the world, right? We got that. That's okay. But I'm looking at you blowing that lead. I'm looking at you bouncing back with a win against the Colts, handing Daniel Jones their first loss, last week in Week 4. It's a good win. We'll talk about it. But then I'm looking at last night, and Kendrick Bourne and Mac Jones, with all of the Bay Area, walk into SoFi Stadium and move the ball up and down whenever they need to against that defense. Kyron Williams turns the ball over on the goal line again. Sean McVay with a stupid-ass play call on 4th and 1 at the 15-yard line. Rams fall to 2-2, losing to the hospitalized Niners. I'm putting out some fraud activity here early in the year, Scotty.
Yeah, no, I tend to agree, and going back to that Green Bay Dallas game, it's funny how the Eagles were talked about coming out of that Week 1 matchup with the Cowboys, right? And you look back on that, that's Week 1, young defense, moving pieces in the offseason on that defense that held that Cowboys offense to what 20 points in Philadelphia,
0 in the second half,
0 in an entire half, and that team is just running up and down the field. Not running, passing the ball up and down the field against that ferocious pass rush featuring Micah Parsons. And that Packers team gives up 40 points. It was in Jerry World, but there's still no excuses. Defense is supposed to travel, man. That was alarming. That was alarming that you could see the Packers. They didn't lose this game, to your point. It was a tie. Yeah. But I mean, in my eyes, it's a loss. You may as well have lost. Like, in my eyes, that's a loss. You go into Jerry World and you give up 40 points after going to Cleveland. Maybe that was a home. I can't even remember if that was in Cleveland or in Green Bay. That was in
Cleveland.
It was in Cleveland. So another away game nonetheless. You go into Cleveland, but you lose in a low-scoring battle. And so what I talked about last week was how the Eagles can win different types of battles and different types of games. What the Packers showed me is that they can lose different types of games, different ways, and they got multiple weaknesses on their team.
Yep.
And maybe we just got a little ahead of ourselves with crowning them, especially even in the NFC North. They came out, they dominated the Lions Week 1, rightfully so, got the credit they deserved for it. We look back now, the Lions have dominated since that Week 1 matchup. Sure. And if these two teams were to play right now, I'm putting my money on the Lions. Yeah. So it is interesting to see how the Packers have fell, and then we get to the Rams. Obviously, they take care of business against the Colts last weekend at home in L.A. The Colts go on the road. They get their first loss. Daniel Jones still goes for, 262, a touchdown, 2 interceptions. Didn't have a great day. Staff, 375 yards, 3 tutties in that game. Great Rams showing. It was a great win. Then you come out last night against a team, right, that has a very specific identity. I think that's the alarming part for the Rams, is you go up against the 49ers and you face smash mouth football. That's what that turned into last night. Now, Mac Jones added a facet for sure with 300 passing yards and half of them going to pin the board.
Too, man. I mean, Mac Jones is thriving. He's thriving right now in that Shanahan offense.
He is, and it was funny hearing those guys talk about Brock Purdy last night. I think Ryan Fitzpatrick said they're missing Brock Purdy. He's the guy that makes this team go. Motherfucker, they have CMC in the backfield. And you guys want to talk shit on Jalen Hurts? That's a whole other conversation. But nonetheless, man, the Rams are definitely suspect in the sense of finishing games.
Yeah,
you choke that win away in Philadelphia, and then last night you proceed to come back. But man, you wanted to give the game to 49ers.
Man, if only
you fumbled the ball at the 1 yard line.
If only there was such an effective play that you could run when you need 1 yard. Such a play that you could put a couple guys behind your quarterback and push his tush. If only you just believe, if only you didn't vote against it, if only you weren't such a hater of the play. I mean, 4th and 1 in overtime, going for it. The Niners called a timeout. The Rams got to look at what the Niners were lining up like defensively. The Rams come out, run the clock down, try to draw them off sides, don't jump, get a look at what they're looking like defensively. And then you still, after 5 minutes of real time go by, your play call with the game on the line against a stacked box was to say, hey, Kyron, I'm just going to turn and give
halfback dive
6 feet behind the line of scrimmage.
I literally, and you know our boy
genius, that is Sean McVay.
You know our boy Remy Warrens, he is a diehard LA Rams fan. I texted him before they ran that play, and I said, I hope Sean McVay is not about to run that shit up the middle.
Bro, you cannot take the ball out of Matthew Stafford's hand at that point. I mean, the throw he made rolling out to Tutu Atwell 60 yards down the field was a dime. Him and Pook had things going. Him and Devontae Adams had things going. Kyron was a weapon out of the backfield. I know you only need a yard, but
I think that's
just tush.
I think that's the thing, though, like knowing yourself as well, right? The Rams need to know themselves. Yeah. against the Eagles, against the 49ers, other teams that are going to stack that box and play smash mouth football defensively, guess what? You're not getting those short yardage run plays against that team in a big moment. Like, it's not happening. The Eagles can do that. And just a whisper to the 49ers, you voted against the tush push. Stop fucking running it. So, like, that's one thing I wanted to get out there to the Niners. Don't vote against the play and then fucking run it in a critical moment, and it gets you success.
Spring. That was the hypocrisy of Sean McDermott speaking about player safety, but running
how that works,
brick wall every week. But no, like, I know this is week 5, and we get to tie the Niners in and the Rams in because they were two different teams from week 4, which is technically what we're breaking down right now. Because the Niners had Brock Purdy last week. They had some more offensive weapons last week. They lose at home to the Jags, who we'll get into in a little bit. Meanwhile, the Rams win at home against an undefeated Colts team, and then you get a short week, and it just kind of reverses. I just wanted to go back to this one comment by D-Rab because, it always plays a factor in sports, and especially the NFL. I think Kirk Herbstreit said it last night, like when the Niners got out 14-0, like, whatever you think is a lock in this league, the opposite. Prepare for the opposite to come, right?
Yeah.
But Shanahan's due. McVay owns him. Possibly, you can't lose this game if you're the LA Rams. I mean, no. Scotty, man, could you imagine? I mean, this is a team we're talking about that's supposed to be in NFC Championship contention. God help us. Could you imagine if the Philadelphia Eagles lost to the San Francisco 49ers at home with no Brock Purdy, no George Kittle, already no Brandon Ayuk, no Ricky Pearsall, no Jawan Jennings, and a lesser version of their defense from years past with guys missing and injured? Could you imagine if they lost the game to Mac Jones, Kendrick Bourne, Tongas, Kyle Juszczyk? Could you imagine if a team, that's supposed to be in this championship level contention, loses that game? It doesn't, the narrative does matter, but you cannot, under any circumstances, find a way to lose that football game last night if you're the Rams.
You know what it's going to get chalked up as, though, right?
For sure, though.
Rivalry game. That's what it's going to get chalked up as. Like, that's not a huge detractor on the Rams. I'm just talking from a national media perspective. Like, we know how they move. And it's going to be that's what can happen in rivalry games. Anything can happen in those games, even with Brock Purdy out and so on and so forth. But to your point, there are no excuses to lose that game at home. At home.
Yeah.
And I do want to make one comment.
It was essentially a home game for the Niners.
I do want to make a comment, just in case, we're moving on from that game. I
had one more thing to add to it.
Okay, well, I do too. Kyren Williams, brother. I wanted to say something to this guy because he's a very talented running back. Don't get me wrong. I have him in a dynasty team. I enjoy him. Mm-hmm. Brother, the high stepping into the end zone, fucking stop it. If you're gonna fumble the fucking ball
again,
1 minute on the clock to win the game at the goal line again, stop fucking celebrating before you score touchdowns, man. This dude was high stepping down 14-0 going into the end zone. And that just rubbed me the wrong way. And I just knew that he was going to do something dumb.
And he was very, very upset clearly afterwards. It wasn't
he was distraught.
So I get it. But it's again, at what point, you fumbled in the regular season game when last year against us in LA. The Rams, I believe, went up 7-0. We punted. The Rams drove right back down the field. He fumbles. We get the ball. We never look back. NFC Championship game. He fumbles in their own territory. Last night, fumbles at the 1 yard line. I mean, at some point, brother, you got to start to protect the football. Tip your cap to the defensive player for making that play and punching the ball out. But you got to know where you're at to just not put yourself in that situation. You said Kai going to Kyren Williams. The last thing I was going to say about it was Kyle Shanahan. I mean, right now he's the coach of the year. I've always gotten levels at the Kyle Shanahan praise. The big offense, the fun plays, the trick plays, the offensive genius, but always chokes, always loses the game. I mean, was the offensive coordinator in Atlanta with one of the biggest Super Bowl collapses ever. We've seen the postseason struggles and the Super Bowl collapses, with the Niners recently. He's the coach of the year right now. I mean, if this win doesn't tell you that, I don't know what. I mean, he's winning football games against really good teams. With you, myself, and D-Rab playing for him at the moment.
I completely agree, man. And, it's a conversation for Faithful, which, quick plug, Faithful, right after this, we'll be back talking Philly Sports Live. It's a conversation for Faithful, but watching those two coaches go at it last night was just really I think we go through it maybe a couple times a year where we see, offensively, what they do offensively, it's just light years ahead of like mostly everyone else. And man, just imagine Kyle Shanahan with the Eagles roster. Like, no disrespect to Nick Sirianni by any means. He won us the Super Bowl. But man, imagine Kyle Shanahan with those weapons.
Yeah, I mean, I saw someone tweet out like Kyle Shanahan averages 75 with this Eagles offense.
Like, dude, he's getting what the fuck is his name? I forgot his name already. The wide receiver.
Kendrick Bourne.
Yeah. Kendrick Bourne, by the way, I'm kidding a lot. I did forget the name, but Kendrick Bourne's a well-known receiver to an extent.
Yeah, from New England.
From like years ago.
A couple years ago.
He goes out and has like a 150-yard night. And obviously, Kyle Shanahan was able to organize this offense in a way that it benefited a hampered Mac Jones as well, a one-legged Mac Jones who could get the ball out quick all night. It's fun to watch, quite honestly, even as like somebody who does not like the 49ers by any means. It's fun to watch their offense work and how creative he gets with it, man.
It is, man. To start the show, I put out a fraud alert, and I forgot to mention one team, and it was arguably the game of the week last week at 425. Is it time to stick a fork in the Baltimore Ravens this season? Is their season over?
Yeah.
They're 1-3. They're 1-3.
I answered that quick.
Their only win is against the Cleveland Browns and Joe Flacco. They've played 3 Super Bowl contenders, playoff contenders, within the Lions, the Bills, and the Chiefs. They've lost both. Lamar Jackson is a non-participant at practice all week this week. It's not looking like he's going to play. You get the Texans at home, who have not been very good this year, but that defense is really good. And with a backup quarterback, I don't know what that game's going to look like. The schedule's not getting easier for the Baltimore Ravens after starting 1-3. You get the Texans, you get the Rams, you get the Bears, who are now 2-2. At Miami, Thursday night, win. Vikings probably win. Browns again. It gets a little easier, but then you finish up with the Steelers at Cincinnati in mid-December, which I don't know if Joe Burrow will be back at that point or not. New England, at Green Bay, at Pittsburgh. You end the division with 1, 2, 3, 4 divisional games with the Packers in Lambeau thrown in there. It's not good, man. And I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt by saying, oh, well, it's the Dolphins. Oh, it's the Vikings. Those are wins. This defense can't stop anybody.
Yeah.
This defense can't stop a Colt right now. So, I mean, they are so soft. Matabike is out for the year now.
Neck injury, yeah.
I mean, the defense isn't getting any help, and the offense, you have Derrick Henry fumbling. You have Lamar throwing too much, who's now hurt. I mean, the Chiefs seem revived, and the Ravens seem like they're just headed straight down a cliff.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great way to put it. Looking at this game, man, Baltimore, the only good thing they had going for them was Lamar Jackson at the end of the day. He was playing really well as far as like throwing the ball, getting the ball out quick. He wasn't even having a great year running the football, from my perspective at least.
Right.
It was mostly through the air, and then obviously comes up hampering. It's a hamstring. Those things linger. It's going to linger this entire football season if they don't let him sit out long enough. Mm-hmm. The problem is they'll probably lose some games, and maybe that fourth. I don't know. They're 1-3 right now. Like, if you lose 2 more games, are you forcing Lamar back quick, like to try to bounce?
And to D-Rob's point, they're still minus 450 to make the postseason because you're in a division with the Browns and the Bengals.
So crazy.
So
that's so crazy that it minus 450. Are you joking?
And I'll tell you what, Scotty, they didn't just lose to the Chiefs. They lost so badly.
They got dogged.
The main storyline hasn't been spoken about. They still can't beat Patrick Mahomes. I mean, heading into this
that's like
week,
beside the point.
Yeah, like heading into this week, the Chiefs were down and out. This does not look like the same Kansas City Chiefs game. Whoever loses this game is 1-3. Who needs it more? They lost so badly. We forgot oh man, Lamar really can't ever beat Mahomes. It was never a contest. Mahomes and the offense really did whatever they wanted to that soft ass defense. And yeah, Lamar's looked good through the first 3 weeks. That offense only put up 20 points.
Yeah. Yeah,
They
no,
got the dog shit kicked out of them
I
in
think
Arrowhead.
that's the alarming part. It's not that if you go to Arrowhead and lose that it's the end of the world. No, it's if you go to Arrowhead and give up 37 points to that offense. Like that's the concern. Like
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes 270, 4 touchdowns, 0 INTs, domination, confidence builder for Pat Mahomes. Like that's the type of game that these motherfuckers were having out there. Lamar goes down and somehow Derrick Henry can only have 8 carries. That's because they were already too far behind. They had to continue to throw the ball. And man, yeah, I don't think this team is going anywhere with Cooper Rush, to be clear. I don't think the weapons they have on the outside, I think they're good when you have Lamar Jackson who can move around and just create things that other quarterbacks can't. Zay Flowers and DeAndre Hopkins and Rashad Bateman aren't moving mountains with fucking Cooper Rush at quarterback. So yeah, I'm good. I'm good on the Ravens, man. I just don't see it. I think minus 450 to make the playoffs is fucking insane. I think that's insane. If you
Pittsburgh's
from the
3-1 right now.
reports,
Yeah.
Lamar is going to be out 2-3 weeks, maybe a month, maybe longer. It's a hamstring. All it takes is coming back to practice and re-aggregating it again. Like hamstrings are not the injuries to play with, man. That's so interesting. Their schedule is so hard. Like, how are they minus 450 to me? I don't understand that at all. It's kind of blowing my mind, man. Like,
just the lack
what
of
are
trust,
they seeing?
Just the lack of trust in the Steelers, I guess, to hold on to that division lead, to win both games late in the season against them. Because you will obviously, no matter how, if Lamar misses 4 games, and obviously you can't get buried by then, but Lamar Jackson will be playing in November and December. As long, not going
barring a
so you'll have 2 matchups against the Steelers, who are leading your division right now, way down the road. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see, man. I got one more storyline for you before I throw it to you for whatever you're taking away from week 4. Tip my cap to you. The Giants go out and start Jackson Dart, and he inserts life, not only just a little bit into this team, but to this defense, man. I mean, this was a Justin Herbert and LA Chargers team who were rolling coming into this week. Yeah. This was a Giants team that got torched in Jerry World in week 2. Yeah. Justin Herbert rolls in 23 of 41, 2 INTs in this game. He's been playing a clean game all year long. Hampton goes off, but it's meaningless at this point. Dart, 111 passing yards. We know all too well here in Philly that doesn't matter. Scatterbo with a fine day. Singletary with a fine day. But the bottom line is Jackson Dart played fine, but it's the energy in which, the life in which he has inserted into this team. You can't tell me it's a coincidence that you give probably the guy the locker room wanted, probably the guy the locker room believed in, gave them the best chance, was the better leader at such a young age, comes in and the defense puts on a clinic against Justin Herbert with the way he's been playing. 21-18, Giants get on the board in the win column. Inserted some life, man.
No, I completely agree. I love the takeaway, man, because it looked like an inspired Giants team. Now, maybe that's just a one-game ignition, man. When you throw that quarterback in there, he gives them the energy to play clear-headed and they can move forward. Maybe they come back down to earth next week, right? Maybe they start to turn into that team that they looked like early on, but I think at the end of the day, getting to see Jackson Dart out there, that's going to be a positive experience for the Giants organization, getting him that experience. I know he left the game with concussion concerns. Did he exit the game or was he able to return?
No, I think he returned. I don't think he was happy to be taken out. I remember him running off. I think he ended up being fine and coming back.
Okay. But yeah, man, you saw him use his legs in this game. I saw some of the highlights, obviously, him using his legs.
First touchdown of the game.
He's a lot quicker than what I even thought of him, knowing that he was kind of a dual threat quarterback. I think it just gives their offense another edge. But, man, this is one of my takeaways as we continue to move throughout this season. I almost
forgot about this one.
Injuries, man. Yeah. The injuries are really starting to pile up. Most notable, obviously, from this game is Malik Neighbors, which – I do want to say so. I feel like I've slept on Malik Neighbors, and I feel like I've slept on Garrett Wilson. So I just want to throw that out there. Those guys are obviously, I know everybody else knows. I feel like I was kind of late to the party. Those guys are fucking nice. Malik Neighbors, obviously the injury sucks. I'm an Eagles fan. It doesn't suck that much, but it sucks. Like from a humanity standpoint and just the talent this guy carries, it sucks. And then obviously Garrett Wilson on that Thursday Night Football. I know they lost. Or Monday Night Football, excuse me. I know they lost. That one-handed grab, and I don't even know how he like kept control of that.
You mentioned injuries. Tyreek Hill literally destroying his
knee. That's one that slipped my mind.
Look, if my takeaway at first, and you text me the same thing, like career over at this point, like with the age and everything, and probably not even playing all of next year. I still don't think he's going to play next year. But then when he got the surgery done, they were able to like do everything at once. They said, which is a good sign, like in terms of recovery and how bad it was. Because it's like he dislocated his knee or whatever.
Yeah.
But then he also had like torn ligaments. MCL, torn ligaments in the knee
because it was like snapped all the way around.
And so but they cleaned all of it up in the one surgery. So normally it's like multiple surgeries or something. So I don't know what that does for his timeline. I'm still going to stick on the fence of that career, that great career is probably coming to an end.
His speed, what he relies on, it is.
I mean, bro, a dislocated kneecap. Like we're not like it was.
He's got to worry about his own well-being, into older age, man. Like at that point, it's kind of like what we've talked about with Embiid in Philly. Like you got to think about life after football or after the sport that you play professionally, man. And that's something he'll have to consider. I saw he was like laughing as he gets drove off. Somebody said
someone was like driving like behind the ambulance, and he's like on the stretcher, like on his phone, like laughing while he's laying on the stretcher, being driven to the hospital.
Leg in a brace.
Yeah, with his knee sideways.
Somebody said it was like because he gets like guaranteed money from like getting in. Like somebody said that's why he was just laughing all the way to the bank.
You mentioned life after football, and the man's got enough money for an entire lifetime for multiple generations. But like, stop popping out so many damn kids. Then, like, just,
right? But it does like
days here. Save some of that money, brother.
The injuries do point to like a bigger picture thing, man. I don't know if it's just because teams have more depth, so they are willing to take less risks with their players. But like I've seen, like Chuba Hubbard is supposedly going to be out this week down in Carolina. Bucky Irving's going to be out this week. Dallas Goedert questionable. CeeDee Lamb's out right now. Brock Purdy out. All the injuries the 49ers are dealing with. There's just a ton of injuries across the board, and it kind of just lets you know, like, NFL season's here. We are in the middle of the NFL season. Look at the injury report.
Man. Any other takeaways from the Week 4 slate that you got your eye on?
No, I think you covered it pretty well, man. Obviously the Houston Texans, they get a dominant win against Tennessee. They really needed that. We'll talk about them a little bit more in our tiers section, or tiers segment. But no, the Jags, they take care of the 49ers, give them their first loss. I thought that was really impressive overall by them, but it's just one game. Like I'm not going to, go jumping over the world for it. Colts get their first loss. We already talked about that. Monday Night Football, there wasn't a ton to that. I mean, you had the Tyreek injury.
Yeah.
You had the
crazy Justin Fields TD run on fourth down. I will say that.
That was I'm glad you brought that up because that like took me back a little bit. I haven't seen a run like that in a minute, man, from a quarterback. So that took me back.
That was very like Michael Vick-esque.
Yeah.
Not as fast, not as speedy as Vic, but obviously. Yeah. Let me ask you, young quarterback, let me ask you this, because you mentioned the Texans game, big bounce back win. Any concerns if you're a Titans fan? Is this just organizational problem, the help around them? They're just not a good team at all. It's the reason they had the number 1 pick, but obviously standout Cam Ward. I mean, he's got 2 passing touchdowns on the year with 2 INTs and a 22.8 quarterback rating, which falls into last in the National Football League. I mean, he doesn't have a game with over 60.5% completion percentage. That's one of the games.
Yeah.
Against Denver, he was 12 for 28. Against Houston, he was 10 for 26. It's not going very well in Tennessee right now.
It's not. I wanted to go back and just take a look because I have a good reference of the games they played so far this year, but
they've played good competition. They have played good defenses, teams that all, besides the Texans, obviously, we're 0-3, but still we know what that defense is.
So I wouldn't jump the ship on him just yet, because like I wanted to look at their roster as well. I know we
Yeah.
visited it earlier this season, but
it's not good.
their wide receivers, I mean, Tyler Lockett's a notable name. Calvin Ridley, obviously. A guy that's kind of jumped out early, Elick Ayomanor. I mean, I don't know how to say his name or anything, but that's what he's working with, right? And so I'll give him a little bit of grace. They've played the Rams, the Texans, the Colts, and the Broncos so far. So all fairly tough defenses, I would say. But yeah, you want to see a spark out of him. I will say I did like his post-game press conference. I did like how he basically called out the team. I did like that. Like, this shit is not good enough. I forget exactly what he said. But
I'm so glad you said that because I don't know what he said. I'm not laughing because of Cam Ward. That's a great sign, honestly, if you are, the Tennessee organization.
What are you laughing about, though?
I'm laughing at what another rookie quarterback did in the media this past week.
Oh!
And that quarterback isn't even suiting up at the moment. I mean, if you're the Browns, bro, like your third string quarterback is making the news for a negative reason. Like, brother, I get it. And I'm not saying anything like that could just be his personality overall, but that's all.
I know.
That's all well and cool when it's with your friends. My friends know me. I was just playing around. Brother, you're not around your friends.
I know.
You're looking to fight for a job in the National Football League. I know I'm not the first person to say this. A lot of people, a lot of former players, a lot of analysts have said this. Nobody gives a damn who your daddy was.
Yeah.
Nobody in that locker room cares what your daddy did in this league. And you just keep knocking yourself down a level.
Yeah.
And it's nothing to do with your talent so far.
I agree, man.
We'll see what happens with the Shedeur Sanders era in Cleveland.
I do think it's alarming.
Gabriel getting the start this week.
I do think it's alarming that, like, why do we interview the third string? That's the other side of it, I guess, is like, why are you interviewing the third string quarterback? But he does himself no favors by any means, to your point. I don't understand. I really don't understand, like, the advisement that he's receiving or if he's receiving any.
It's a great point by D-Rabbit because of the Lamar injury news. If he wasn't being a dick, you'd be starting with next to Derrick Henry this week, trying to earn the Ravens a win. I'm just saying, look, I get the overall, like, he's not wrong.
Though.
Like, the fact that the Ravens and the Eagles called, if you are him, you're looking out for your future. You want a starting job, you're a competitor, whatever.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, where is my future in those two cities, right? Barring any catastrophic injury to one or the two quarterbacks.
Jalen Hurts is the perfect example of why you don't turn anyone down, though, at the end of the day, because we had
the moon, though, brother.
We were very sure in Carson Wentz at that time when he was drafted, and obviously we see where it's ended up now. So anything can happen once you get into the NFL and get with an organization that is well run and can help you develop. Anything can happen, man. And
get your shit together, Shedeur.
Simply put, man.
I mean, put it this way, bro. Dillon Gabriel comes out and looks like a shell through 3 weeks. They might come knocking for you.
Yeah.
So stay ready.
Be ready.
Let's get into our updated power rankings. I'll run through these. We'll discuss real quick, and then obviously we'll compare them to our tier rankings. They're going to look a little different. The tier rankings, if you guys are new to the two segments, the tier rankings go from anywhere from Super Bowl champs to stinks. They're very reactionary week to week. You can be knocked down. Doesn't mean I necessarily big picture don't really view a team as a team that can be in the Super Bowl or as a team that doesn't stink. It's just how you're playing week to week. You might get knocked up. You might get knocked down. But the power rankings stay relatively more less reactionary, I guess I'll say.
Yeah,
So here are your updated power rankings heading into week 5. Last night's game does have some sway. We'll be honest with you. We put them together this morning, not prior to the start of week 5. Coming in at number 1, your undefeated defending champ Super Bowl winning Eagles, knocking off the Bucs last week. Very good first half. Very bad second half, but they remain undefeated at 4-0. The other undefeated team comes in at number 2. That is your Buffalo Bills, led by probably the MVP candidate right now in Josh Allen. They continue to roll. Yes, sir.
Let me stop you right there at 2. 2 4-0 teams. I know we discussed this before the show, but just for the viewers, Bills, Eagles. Why did the Eagles get the nod there?
You're the king until someone knocks you off. So it doesn't matter necessarily. And I think schedule also plays a factor into it.
Schedule in my mind. Yeah.
Because even if the Eagles are playing bad football against bad teams, you're the defending Super Bowl champs. You come in at number 1 to start the year. You are 4-0 regardless of not playing good football. Excuse me. You're staying at number 1 for me. But the fact that you've done this against a division rival in the Dallas Cowboys, who clearly don't seem as bad as, people thought to start the year with what they did against Green Bay, et cetera. Against the Rams, against the Chiefs in Arrowhead in week 2 in the Super Bowl rematch, against the Bucs this past week on the road again in Tampa Bay. They're playing a very, very difficult schedule. Meanwhile, if you are the 4-0 Buffalo Bills, and this is no disrespect to Josh Allen, they have a great win in week 1 against the Ravens with that come from behind game. But they've played the Jets, they've played the Dolphins, and they've now played Spencer Rattler and the Saints. They now play the Patriots and the Falcons and the Panthers. They get the Chiefs. They play the Dolphins. Their schedule through the first 8-9 weeks is a cupcake schedule. Until the Bills remain undefeated and the Eagles are knocked off, it will stay 1-2 Eagles-Bills for me.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I just wanted you to elaborate on that for the viewers,
fair
man,
enough.
Because I think that, there's a lot of speculation out there. The Bills have been dominating the teams that they've been playing.
For sure.
But they're playing the teams that they've been playing, right? And the Eagles are playing who they've been playing, which you can argue for three Super Bowl contenders, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where they land in the tiers, right?
So, right. And then it's people, mocked, like you mentioned earlier in the show to me, how they barely hung on to beat Dallas in week 1, and that defense, and they just trade away Micah. Well, it seemed they traded away Micah to just tied them last
40
week.
to 40. Yeah.
So, people can talk all they want, but we'll see. Coming in at number 3, a team that we had knocked down way back in week 1 has been on a roll since. They've won 3 straight. The offense is humming without Ben Johnson. The Detroit Lions coming in at number 3. Staying at 4 from last week, we do have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, I will say this. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers would have gotten knocked down at least a peg or 2 if it weren't for all the other teams that were right even with them that lost. And the teams that are better than them, that are also 4-1, 3-1, like the Niners team that we played last night, they were way down. So I can't now just jump them all the way up to 4 or whatever because they've won one more game. So the Bucs are still 3-1, still a very good football team, and they're going to get healthier as the season progresses. So they're in at number 4. Another team that lost their first game last week. It's a bad loss. Justin Herbert did not play good, but I knocked the Chargers down 2 slots from 3. They come in at number 5. Now comes in the San Francisco 49ers Coach of the Year. They're so injury plagued. So you can make the argument, man, whether we agree that, whether it's Mac Jones or Brock Purdy, take the quarterback role and the system QB out of it, plug in all the weapons that they're missing. Those guys come back healthy. Think about what this offense can do. And Robert Saleh has his defense really well. So 6 are the Niners. 7, the Packers got dropped again after tying the Dallas Cowboys. Number 8, the Colts get handed their first loss. Daniel Jones turns the ball over a couple times, but they're still a top 10 team right now. We'll see what they do this week. Making the top 10 now this week, the Jacksonville Jaguars at 9, the Seattle Seahawks coming in at 10. Give me your reasoning for that, Scotty.
Yeah, so the Jags, obviously, they get they give the 49ers their first loss last week in San Fran. That was a very impressive win. You look at the Jags this season, I think they had one disappointing loss where they ultimately should have won the game that they were playing. I can't remember exactly which game that was. Was it the Steelers? Am I tripping on that? Nonetheless, I think the Jags have been overly impressive. Trevor Lawrence hasn't been at the top of his game, but he's been good enough. It was that week 2 loss to the Bengals where
they
was a little bit of a setback. Yeah, Joe Burrow get injured in that game, right? He leaves and Jake Browning comes in and still takes them up over 30 points. But I think when you get into a game and you have a quarterback change like that, it can get really weird in a sense looking back on it. And I do like what the Jags are doing this season, specifically defensively. I think they've taken a step ahead in that regard. So they come in at number 9. They're having some good success here. And then the Seahawks, man. You talk about like quarterbacks that maybe catch you off guard. Sam Darnold, man, maybe, just maybe, he's a good quarterback. We've seen him in a couple systems now where he's looked good. The Kevin O'Connell system in Minnesota specifically. We know what Kevin O'Connell can do with quarterbacks. But I think Sam Darnold going over to Seattle and kind of finding his own lane there and having the success that he's had early has been really impressive. I did want to go back up to the Chargers for you real quick, because I think you made a great point. Like, they lost one game. We're not going to knock them out of the top 10. We're not going to call Justin Herbert, the fraud that we may or may not believe that he is. We're not going to jump to those conclusions off of one loss. Mm-hmm. Don't let it happen again, man, if you want to be taken serious. So we're giving them a little bit of grace. We're giving the Packers a ton of grace here. In a sense, man, with the back-to-back games that they played, not losses, but games that they played, a draw and a loss. Very unimpressive.
I did just want to touch back on your Chargers point. I think it's a fun point to talk about, because that's just how quickly things can be taken away from you, how quickly a lead can disappear for you in this
league.
We
could easily call him a fraud. Yeah, that could happen.
Because we have a team that's not even in our top 10, which sounds crazy to say when they've been to 3 straight Super Bowls. It's the Kansas City Chiefs, and they have to continue to earn their way back into the top 10 after starting the year the way they did. But heading into this past week, you were talking about the Chiefs with a big opportunity to start 1-3. The Chargers were 3-0 with a great opportunity to go to 4-0. The Chargers already beat them in Brazil back in week 1, and it's like, oh wow, man, like, it's not the same Chiefs. It's the changing of the guard. Well, now that's a 1-game difference in the division, and they're going to meet again. Like, that's how quickly things can turn, right? The Chiefs are down and out. The Chargers are ascending. This is Herbert's year, and bing, bang, boom. We're both 3-2 or something in a week from now.
It's interesting, right? So we'll see how that all plays out. But I
will also say,
to take care of business.
Yeah, I will. There's a bunch of teams that I think we can make that argument for right now, like Daniel Jones and the Colts. Daniel Jones and the Colts come out and find a way to lose to the Raiders this week. Sayonara, you're out of the top 10. You're back down to earth for me if you're Daniel Jones. The Packers, man. Jordan Love, he had a great game. He threw 3 touchdown passes, threw for over 330, was in a duel with Dak. Like, this was a defense problem. This was not a Jordan Love problem, but you were a big problem in the loss against Cleveland. And then just making them, almost making a game-ending mistake at the end of regulation. You have to mature. I love it. I've never been the biggest believer of Jordan Love. You know this. I've never been the biggest believer that the Packers are going to the Super Bowl, a threat to the Eagles, to that extent. The way they started this year, the way that defense looked with Micah, I went, oh boy, this might be a problem.
They look like a tough team. Yeah.
And like I said, just how quickly things can change. Still very early on in the year. They're 2-1-1. No one's taking away anything from the Green Bay Packers right now. It's just, again, all right, slow your roll. We'll see. But Jordan Love has to continue to mature, man. With that said, our last segment of the show, let's take a look at our updated tier ranking system. Only 3 remaining Super Bowl champions right now. Obviously, any of those playoff contenders, any of them could jump up in a week or two, just like teams could slide down in a week or two from that spot. Lots and lots of playoff contenders right now. Lots of 3-1 teams, a few 2-2 teams thrown in there. The Baltimore Ravens, man, give it a week, and they're going to be in a category they never expected to be in, but I'm going to give them a little bit of grace right now. You have the Commanders in there. They're 2-2. Looks like no Jaden Daniels, no Terry McLaurin again. They lose this week. It's not really this isn't Jaden.
I heard Jaden Daniels is in. I did hear he's in. Yeah. The only reason I know, I have him in my dynasty team, and I did hear he got cleared.
It's just Terry McLaurin that's missing. All right. So we'll see if Washington can bounce back this week. So that's big for them. No man's land. We keep the Cowboys and the Vikings there. I just don't think those two teams, like the Cowboys with their offense and the Vikings with their defense, I don't think either of those teams are ever going to stink this year. I don't think they're ever going to be a team that doesn't win at least 8 or be in that 8-9, 9-8, 10-7 range. I think that's their right where they belong. But I just don't view them as playoff contenders. No matter how nice of a story it was in Jerry's world last weekend. Right. The Giants have earned their way back up to better than last year. very quickly can be knocked down the stinks. No Malik Neighbors. Jackson Dart's job just got a whole hell of a lot more difficult.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there. A lot of teams, Scotty. A lot of teams have fallen down to that absolutely stinks category. And I believe we only started the season with 3 teams in that category. The Texans, with one more win this week, which would be a big win, could earn their way back up, right? But the Bengals have slid down. They don't look like they can play football with Jake Browning at quarterback. I know it's a very good Denver defense. That was a pathetic showing on Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
The Dolphins did get a win. They looked better 2 weeks ago against Buffalo. We'll see if they can climb out of the stinks category sometime soon. The Jets, Justin Fields looked good. You're 0-4.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, you lost to that Dolphins team I'm alluding to right now. You stink. So that is our updated tier ranks, man. Like, if you're looking around, I know it's difficult to really see in that playoff category, but any of the categories, any teams you could see moving up or down this upcoming week.
Yeah, man. I think the team you obviously pointed out already, the Baltimore Ravens, they could move down. The Broncos, man, they come into Philadelphia this weekend. Obviously, Philadelphia, a great like gauging type of game for them.
Yeah.
If they come out and they get blown out, do they drop down a little bit? I don't know where they would drop down to. I don't know if it would be super fair, but obviously this is an overreactionary type of segment. So who knows, man? The Broncos at what, 2-3? Do they drop out of the playoff contender?
Yes, they would.
And no man's land.
I was going to save this for Faithful, and I'll bring it up. I'll say probably the exact same line I'm going to say to you right now, but I have this down on my note sheet for the next show. And people got to chill on the Broncos. Now, we still have them in playoff contenders, and I think they belong there. And Bo Nix looked very good the other night. The offense with J.K. Dobbins, the way they've been able to run the ball, R.J. Harvey getting acclimated, and we know what that defense, can be and should be, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But people got to chill on the Broncos. Because there's all this talk, not even nationally. I've heard analysts that cover the Eagles, beat writers.
Oh yeah,
talking about how the Eagles. No one's saying the Eagles should be overlooking the Broncos. The Eagles shouldn't be overlooking anyone. But this threat that is walking into the link on Sunday afternoon, the Denver Broncos are 2-2, with 2 wins over Cam Ward and the Titans and Jake Browning and the Bengals. That's their 2 wins. That's like the Arizona Cardinals winning their first 2 games of the season against the Saints and whoever the hell they beat in week 1.
Yeah.
That's what that's like. So relax on this team is coming into the link, and they very well could come into the link and win the game. No one's taking that away from them.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. It would be one thing if maybe it was in Denver, maybe a hostile environment. I don't know. But yeah, I'm keeping my eye on the Broncos and the way they look. And I think that's a good thing to kind of end this segment with, man. It's not just about losing. It's not just about winning, but it is also how it looks when doing so.
Do you belong? Do you belong in the conversation? So it'll be something we keep an eye on, man. But that is our updated tier rankings. You got 2 undefeated teams and obviously a surging 3-1 Detroit team up there in Super Bowl contention. You got a bunch of 1-loss teams that could find their way up there. It's going to take me some time to turn them into Super Bowl contenders in my mind, right? The team that was, or 2 teams that were in my mind, were Green Bay and Baltimore. And what they've done the last couple of weeks have knocked me out of that conversation. But you look at even though what the Niners are doing unhealthy right now, I'm never going to sit here and tell you that I believe this Niners team can win the Super Bowl this year. Like the Jags, the 3-1 Jags, they go for. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I believe the Jags could win the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah.
They're going to have to do some extra work, whether that's fair or foul. They have to put in some extra work for me to get them up there.
I agree.
And D-Rab, we're about to go talk about that. So hop on over to the Faithful stream. We'll be live in a couple minutes, but we're going to talk more about that later on in the Faithful show. Definitely no slouches. Great defense. Bo Nix and the offense is playing well. Sean Payton, excellent coach. But I'm just saying, the way this game's being threatened to the Eagles, they've beaten the Titans and Jake Browning. Let's see what they look like against another formidable football team.
It's fair.
That is going to wrap up this week 4 breakdown of NFL Turf Talk. We'll be back live Sunday morning, breaking down the rest of the week 5 slate, getting into our predictions and our best bets. So make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel to be able to comment along like my man D-Rab is doing right now. Head on over to the DSM X page at DSM_media. Check out the link tree in our bio. We are about to be live in about 5 minutes over on the DSM Philly YouTube channel. I have a video dropping later tonight at 7 p.m. with Paul Hembekides, Hembo from ESPN's Get Up on an NLDS breakdown of the Phillies Dodger series. So lots of content coming out today, lots of content coming out over the weekend. So come hang out with us, talk Phillies playoffs, talk more Birds, and whatever else you guys want to get into. We appreciate it. Peace out, everybody.
Peace.